Hey everybody, welcome back to G-Dub's Point of View. I am your host G-Dub. We are here for day 14 of the G1 tournament. Of course, this is the 7th night of B-Block action. The tournament's now just starting to finish up. Every match was really good. I thought there was one kind of maybe down point of the night as far as match goes, but it's the one that usually is the down point. But every other match served its purpose, and the last two were just unbelievable matches. So of course the B Block is just showing out again. That's just kind of what the story has been all tournament of the B Block just being a ton better than the A Block overall. But yeah, it was a really fun show. I didn't catch any of the tag matches. I wasn't too interested in any of them. I know, the Suzuki Hangman tag, I think it was pretty good. And then, of course, the Evil and Bushi versus Okada and Gato tag probably at the end was pretty good. But the other ones I wasn't too interested in. So the first match of tournament action was Toru Yano versus Sonata. This was a fantastic match. This was just a great comedy match. Another just insanely fun match. Of course, Sonata is out first intro. Yano jumps him from behind as he's walking down, and then tapes up his feet, and so almost doesn't make the 20 count, and so he slides back in at 19. And then they're going for different holds, and at one point Sonata counters a Yano pin into a rolling cradle, and then they do like a rolling cradle like 5 or 6 times around in a circle, which I thought was awesome. And of course Yano just gets out of the ring and like falls over from being dizzy, which was hilarious. Of course, at one point Sonata, it's probably about the 4-minute mark, and Sonata gets really, he's like, all right, I'm just going to finish this match. And he puts the Paradise Lock on Yano outside the ring. And I'm watching the English commentary. Might be one of the only matches, like if you're not a fan of English commentary, this might be one of the matches to actually watch with English commentary, because of course the commentators are Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero, who Rocky's in Chaos with Yano, so they're buddies. And so Sonata puts Yano in the Paradise Lock outside the ring, and gets back in the ring, and it hits like 15, and you can hear Yano calling for Rocky to help him, and Rocky's like, I gotta go help him, and he gets out there and like pushes Yano over to break the hold, and Yano slides back in at like 18, and of course Kevin's like, come on man, you can't be doing that. He's like, hey, it's my buddy, I gotta help him. And so immediately Sonata attacks Yano, throws him back outside, grabs a piece of barricade, puts Yano in the Paradise Lock on the barricade, tapes the barricade to the ring post, and then gets back in the ring at like 4. Rocky comes out to like try and help Yano. Sonata slides back out, kicks Rocky, puts Rocky in the Paradise Lock, flips him over, then puts the headset back on him for commentary, and then slides back in the ring. And of course he hits the 20 count, and Yano gets counted out. The finish was just hilarious, and especially with the little aspect of putting Rocky in the Paradise Lock like on the cement floor, and then throwing the headset back on him, and hearing Rocky just like trying to just like screaming for help through like this like weird voice, because he's like face is smushed on the ground. It was just hilarious. Yano's had, between this match, Naito, and probably his match against Kenny, he's gonna have just an amazing 3 comedy matches that are just hilarious. But this one was great. Definitely the most fun match of the tournament so far as comedy goes. And then it started just perfect. Sonata gets a win. Yano, of course, is at 2 points. And Sonata just gets another win. But it's hilarious. Please seek it out, and please try to watch it with the English commentary, because it's even funnier. The second match was Hiroki Goto versus Tama Tonga. Definitely my least favorite match of the night. The Tama matches aren't great. They're getting better though. I think Tama has, after the first 3 or 4 matches, he's improved in his actual ring work and working the outside interference stuff into the actual work rate of his matches. It's going a lot better. They had a basic technical opening, good early back and forth. They had really good striking trades. Tama actually threw some really good forearms that I haven't seen from him. He throws decent ones, but these ones are actually making a little sound and looking good. And then of course Goto's strikes are just great, and he throws those headbutts out there, and it's just great. And then towards the finishing, or towards the end, probably about, it's 11.5-minute match, probably towards the 9-minute mark or so. It's a really good. They do like lots of misdirection, running off the ropes and stuff, and eventually it gets down to Goto countering Tama's move into a big Ushigroshi. It was really good, really well done with all the different misdirections and different running off the ropes and counter runs, and it was very smooth. And then to counter it to the big Ushigroshi was really good. But of course it comes down to probably about the 10-minute mark. Ref bump. Loa gets in the ring. They try to go for Magic Killer, or whatever their finisher is called, Guerrilla Warfare. I forget what the actual finisher is called. And Goto counters it, and then Fale runs down, and then Goto hits the GTR and goes for the pin, and then Marty gets it too, and Fale runs out. And this is actually this is one of the most brutal spots for a ref I've seen in this tournament. Fale yanks Marty out of the ring, so he hits the floor. Then Fale picks him up and throws him into the barricade like a long run, and Marty's taking a full back bump on those barricades. Like, that couldn't have felt good, especially for a guy like Fale throwing him. And then of course Fale comes in, hits the grenade, drags Tama on top for the pin. Loa and Fale call out Red Shoes to be the new ref. Red Shoes gets in, starts trying to count, looks around, almost counts again, just looks up, flips off both Loa and Fale, and calls for the DQ. Another great Red Shoes moment. He's been kind of the thorn in their side all tournament. But yeah, I thought that was just a kind of a brutal DQ spot. Marty got fucked up. That was kind of sad. I feel bad for him, but hey, what are you gonna do? He was reffing a Tama Tonga match. It's just gonna happen. But of course, Goto 6 points, Tama 4. Neither of them are even close. They're probably, now the most Goto can end with is 10, and he probably won't get there. He'll probably end up at 8, which is sad to say because of the tournament he's had. All of his matches have been just great. For the most, there's maybe a couple duds here or there, like this one, but for the most part, his matches have been phenomenal this tournament. And then Tama, of course, he's not going to win many. The most he can win now is 8, and he probably won't. Just because of the story they're trying to tell, where he doesn't care about points. So it's kind of weird because his press conference last year was talking about how he didn't give a shit about the G1, and then this year it wasn't as much. And that press conference last year would have better suited this year, where he said I couldn't give a shit about the G1, and then all this happens, it would have been better. But last year he said that, and then still actually wrestled and didn't have any interference and all that. So I don't know. I think, of course, this is completely hindsight. He didn't know a year out this is going to happen. But yeah, it's kind of just odd to think about it like that. But yeah, definitely least favorite match of the night. Definitely skippable. Nothing that you absolutely need to see. The third match was Juice and Zack Sabre Jr. Great match. These guys really showed out tonight. They had some good opening shot trades, which kind of continued throughout the match. Of Juice, even though he's left-handed, throws amazing right-handed chops. They are just stingers. You can, especially I think the first or second one he threw, you could see Zach's chest almost cave in, almost a Walter type. It was bad. And then Zach, to his credit, not known as a striker, his European uppercuts this match were just brutal. I haven't seen him throw uppercuts like that probably since Okada. So it was just, and they kind of continued that throughout the match. Anytime they went back to striking, it was tough. Of course, Zach's thing, focusing on any kind of hurt limb. So Juice has the bad hand, and that instantly was the focus. Really well done. Of course, he can make up submissions on the fly pretty much. That will hurt that hand. So it's going to be good storytelling no matter what. Of course, match continues on. Later on, towards the finish, Juice takes off his cast. Of course, I think the story they told was that Juice's hand is now, the bone is now healed. Of course, I don't know how much this is true and how much of this they're playing up. But he still has to wear the cast, just as like a brace almost at this point. Of course, he takes it off, goes for the big left hand, connects. It didn't even look like it didn't connect that well as usually it does, but I don't know exactly what happened with it. But yeah, connects with a punch. Zach gets like essentially knocked out, but Juice can't follow up because he just, that hand really hurts. And I think it's a really good story to tell of that big punch. If Juice uses it, it's gonna hurt. Like, it's gonna cost him. It's gonna hurt him probably as much as it's gonna hurt the guy he hit. And then it comes down to Zach finally taking advantage on the ground of Juice. He gets an arm lock on his right arm, pulls back the left, and starts manipulating the fingers to a point where he can then put his leg over the top and essentially use his legs to try and push Juice's elbows together in the back. And then he has like a inverted figure 4 lock where he has heel control and then starts yanking on Juice's heel backwards. And so he's just folding Juice up like a pretzel. And it's, of course, a submission no one's ever seen before, and Juice taps out. And, of course, afterwards on Twitter, Zach immediately has a name for it, but it's brand new. I mean, he's never used it. And so just a guy that's able to just create a new submission like that it's insane. But, of course, Zach gets the win. He's at 8 points, but he's kind of out. Juice is at 4. But a big thing that sets up is a potential United States Championship match. And Zach seems like the first actual guy that Juice has lost to that seems like he actually wants a U.S. title match. Because Juice has lost to Tama, who looks like he couldn't give a shit. Naito couldn't give a shit. Ibushi, Omega, who have bigger fish to fry in that sense. And then Zach's actually the first one that actually, he took the title, raised it, was talking about it in the post-match. He's the first one to actually talk about it. So that could be potentially the match in the fall, either at a Destruction show or the Fighting Spirit Unleashed show in Long Beach, is the U.S. title match between Juice and Zack Sabre Jr. Of course, I would love to see Zach win. I think he's earned it. He's done so much for them this year, and they gave him a big shot in April that he did such a good job with in the New Japan Cup and at Sakura Genesis with that match. And having a great G1, I mean, I'd like to see him get rewarded in a sense with the championship reign. Of he's probably not a heavyweight title winner, but something like a U.S. title would be perfect for him. But the match was really good. Definitely my third favorite of the night. Of course, we have the semifinal match of Tomohiro Ishii versus Kenny Omega. This is an insane match. This is the first of the two of the night that are just unbelievably awesome. I knew these guys were going to put magic together like they do every time they have a singles match, but this is probably their best one yet. Maybe their second best if you really enjoy their match in Long Beach last year in the U.S. tournament final. But this is up there as one of their best singles matches, and definitely one of the best of the whole tournament. It was just awesome. Of course, early on, Kenny is like disrespecting Ishii. He doesn't see him at his level, so he's countering stuff and slapping him on the head, and of course Ishii's just getting pissed. And Kenny was throwing some blistering chops. Ishii's chest was moving whenever he connected. I don't think I've seen Kenny throw chops that hard. He throws good chops, but they're not that hard. So and of course, Ishii on a couple of them just completely bounced, like it didn't even affect him. Like his just no selling of strong moves early is it's so good and so well timed and believable, because when you look at him, it makes sense. It was just a great start. Essentially, this match is 23 minutes, almost 23 minutes. It feels like just awesome sequences for 23 minutes. It's just an incredible match. And about the 15-minute mark, this crowd was thunderously in favor of Ishii. Those were the loudest chants I've heard this tournament. wanting Ishii to win. And this, if you want an example, if you're maybe not into WWE, or maybe you're into WWE and you don't watch much New Japan, and you hear all these rumors about Japanese crowds, oh, they're so quiet, it's weird. Watch this match, and you will see why that is completely not true. That building was rocking. I don't even think the commentators could probably hear themselves. Ishii would hit a big move, and oh my god, those chants were so loud. Of course, it gets down towards the end. I know at one point Ishii tried to hit a one-winged angel, and then and then at some point, like later towards the end of the match, Kenny hits a big move, or he hits a V-trigger that knocks Ishii almost out of the ring. Like, if you have seen the Dominion match recently, and that last V-trigger where Omega nearly sends himself out of the ring on that V-trigger. I mean, Omega hits the V-trigger, and Ishii goes flying out of that bottom rope and is just hung on the apron. And then he sits half off the apron with his body underneath the bottom rope, and Kenny does a springboard double foot stomp to the floor. And, of course, the commentary moment of the night was Milano just saying, holy shit, on commentary, which it was just a great spot, and done as safe as they could for a spot like that. And then, of course, at some point, both these guys kind of have blood in their mouths, and Kenny hits Ishii's finisher, which is the vertical brainbuster, and Ishii kicks out at 1. They have beautiful counter moves, and then at one point, Kenny goes for a Irish or a run off the rope for for a V trigger, and Ishii hits him with the most deadly lariat I've seen, and we're pretty sure that one of the seams on Ishii's elbow pad caught Kenny right in his lip, and Kenny got busted open right on the lip. He looks like the Joker after the match, just dripping blood. If you go to his post-match comments, like, he can barely talk. So I haven't seen the matches from earlier today, because I'm recording this on Sunday, so I haven't seen his tag match with Yano. But I'm hoping it's okay, because it looked brutal. But yeah, he hits that just beautiful lariat, gets Kenny up. Kenny swings for a clothesline. Ishii ducks, hits the vertical brainbuster, gets the win, and that crowd was losing their mind. And this might be a match that you watch Japanese commentary, because they were losing their minds at the win. Of course, this sets up Ishii for a potential heavyweight title match in the fall. I love it. These guys, seeing these guys kill it on a stage like this on the G1 and the U.S. tournament specials, and at Dontaku when they had their great singles match, that was just out of the blue. Seeing them in a heavyweight title match would be, they have to go even harder than they did tonight, and I would so love to see that match. Of course, it would have to main event King of Pro Wrestling. And I would love it. Of course, I do think Omega would win, but you never know. Of course, I did have my doubts about Kenny going undefeated, and I just didn't think Ishii would be the guy to take the win. But I love it, especially considering their rivalry of Ishii being one of the only guys that has really had a foil for Kenny recently, in the past 2 years since Kenny's big rise. But this match is just awesome. Of course, they rushed Kenny out pretty quick. I mean, usually, everybody kind of sells for a bit. They put ice packs on. They got Kenny out of there pretty quick. So I think they thought that look was pretty serious. But I know he had the tag match tonight, so I'm hoping it's okay. But, yeah, you owe it to yourself to watch this match. It's just awesome. It's probably my favorite of the night, but it's probably, I don't know if it's the best actual wrestling match of the night. It might be, though. But it's probably my favorite just because of the shock win and what it sets up for the future. Then we get to the main event, which was a worthy main event between Tetsuya Naito and Kota Ibushi. These guys absolutely killed it. They had such a tough act to follow, too, with that amazing match between Omega and Ishii, that these guys lived up to. I mean, they did as best as they could to try and live up to what that match was. They had a really fast-paced start. It was fast-paced, but it was tactically slow. So they really took their time with, kind of setting up offenses and whatnot. But when they got offense, it was quick. And I mean, these are two of the fastest and quickest guys in the company. Any move and any offense they're going to do is going to be fast. Of course, in the tag match between Ibushi and Takahashi versus Naito and Sanada, Naito put a ton of focus on Ibushi's left knee, which he at one point caught Ibushi on the apron and then did a move that really hurt Ibushi's left knee. And so it was just continuity of going back to focus on, having a game plan and sticking to it, which I thought was great continuity. Of course, Osaka is one of those places that's they were one of the first places, or probably the first place, to hate Naito whenever he was in his original babyface state. They were the first crowds to really turn on him, and so when he came back from Excursion at Dominion, which I want to say was 2015, is when he came back for that. Osaka hated him when he was doing the big heel LIJ stuff. So they were big Ibushi fans tonight, and they were booing. A lot of people were booing Naito, and seeing actual heel Naito breakout was fantastic, because usually he plays himself, but the crowd loves him, and there were a ton of people that did not like him. And so him just spitting at the crowd, spitting on Ibushi, just disrespecting everybody, wanting to hear the boos, actually playing to how his character is, was phenomenal. It's one of those matches that you don't get to see very often, of a crowd actually booing Naito and him being allowed to play into it. My note I wrote down was my neck hurts. These guys, I think both their necks are made of rubber, and they try as hard as they can to see what can break. I don't know how they do it. They just have fantastic sequences, and I don't know. I don't know how they do it. It's hard to watch sometimes, especially at one point where Ibushi does his second rope German suplex over the top, and Naito just lands right on his neck and just snaps his chin to his chest, and it was just brutal to watch. And I don't know how he still just moves around after that. And the finish was just fantastic, of going for Ibushi hits a move. I think he hits the powerbomb or something. Naito kicks out, and then Ibushi does the Bamaye, the actual Bamaye with the Shinsuke setup and hitting the knee, and gets a 2 count, and then gets up, calls for the finish, hits the Kamigoye right at the 25-minute mark, gets the pin, gets the win. Just an unbelievable finish and a phenomenal match. You do owe it to yourself to watch both this match and the one before it. They're both just classics. Of course, now this leaves Ibushi in a great spot. Both him and Naito are tied at 10 points, but he has the tiebreaker over Naito. And then Kenny's still at 12 points because he didn't advance any further. So there's a lot of those are the 3 guys left after tonight still. And Naito needs a lot of help, I think, if Naito at all loses. Because, if Naito at all loses, he's done. Because any kind of tie, they'll both have the tiebreaker over him. So Naito just has to keep winning. And then, Kenny can win out and still win. But if Naito loses at all, it's done. Which it could happen. Because his next match is against Sanada, and I'm really interested to see how that match goes. But yeah, the 3 guys left are Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Tetsuya Naito. The 3 most likely probably at the start of the block that you thought would advance from the block are the ones left with 2 more matches to go. It's just, and of course Naito has Sanada, and I forget who he has left on the final day. Actually, let me check. Let's see, Saturday. Oh, he has Zack Sabre Jr. left. Okay. So he has Sonata and Zack left. And then Ibushi has Tama Tonga and Kenny left, and Kenny has Yano and Ibushi. There's a lot of different scenarios. There's a lot of different tiebreakers and whatnot, but I can't even call it now. Either 3 of these guys could win. I probably would lean on Ibushi winning the block, but I don't know. I can't tell you at this point, which is awesome. Then there's 3 contenders from this block, and I can't tell you who's going to win, even who's most likely going to win. But another insane night, and I'm looking forward to being able to catch the A block show here in a little bit. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys if you made it to this point. Please share this video with someone if you think they'd enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm putting out videos for every night. We're coming close to the end, so I'll be able to take a little break and move on to maybe some other topics. But again, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video for the day 15 review.